Hey, what's up, ecosystem? Car home delivery. Who delivers the car? What are they driving? How do they get the job? What's the business model? Because I know for a fact that dealerships do not want to be in the trucking business, and 9-car haulers do not want to be in the white glove business. So I ask, who delivers the car? Our car home delivery presentation tonight is with Anthony Monteiro, president of automotive retail at Draiver. And in the discussion panel, we have Jake at RPM and Ty at Cars on the Move. So I invite you to join the live chat. Please bring your questions and buckle in because it's Tuesday nights live on Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host. Welcome back to the show. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Can you see me and hear me okay? I think you can. I'm just double checking the levels here. Make sure we're good to go. Guys, thank you so much for joining me again on a Tuesday Nights Live. I'm really excited to have you back. Oh, let's do this. If this is your first time here, I want you to feel welcome. Please do feel welcome. This is Auto Transport Intel. This is a safe place. There are many verticals in the auto transport industry ecosystem. Everybody is welcome here. And there are no stupid questions. There's a lot to learn, a lot to know. This is the Car Shipping Business Channel. This is where we share information. Please do say hello in the live chat. In a few minutes, I'm going to go to the live chat. Say hello. Your chat will be live on the screen. So please do let us know where you are, what went well, what went wrong, what do you need help with, what are you looking for, who do you need to connect to make your business grow. Then we're going to go into industry news. I'm going to get to it a little faster than normal. Industry news is national news, social media news, memes, carrier news, dealership news, tech news. There's a lot happening. So we're going to go into industry news. Love that segment, and it really helps set up where we're headed with the car home delivery services presentation with Anthony Monteiro of Draiver. We're going to learn a lot more about Draiver tonight. In fact, in the live chat will be Carmen talking about Draiver, and if you have questions, if you need help, let me see here, check. By the way, do me a favor, let me know, can you see me and hear me okay? I think everything's fine. I just want to make sure that I'm not too loud or too soft. I want to be just right. At the 1 hour mark, we're going to go into the car home delivery discussion panel. We're going to bring back Jake of RPM. He is very knowledgeable, and I love adding him to the conversation. And in combination with Ty of Cars on the Move, man, there's going to be a lot of great questions and discussion because we are talking about car home delivery. I see, I go to the dealer webinars, and cars need to get delivered. And it's not just Carvana, okay? We're going to touch upon Carvana too. But it's not just Carvana. A lot of companies need to deliver cars. And they're, yes, cars were already being delivered before this, but it's really grown. There's a lot to talk about. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stick around. When we come back after the break, we're going to go into Hello Live Chat. Thank you so much.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verification of loads when nobody answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years of experience in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021. Or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
That is the voice of Sue of Murphy Auto Transport. And there's a link, there's a phone number. If you need help with dispatching, if you are looking for a good broker, Sue does it all. She's also my co-host on Thursdays on Dispatching Live. Sue, thank you so much for everything that you do. And we are proud to be back on a Tuesday night. Guys, let's go into the live chat. Let's say hello. Whoa, we've already got a super chat. Ty, thank you so much, buddy. Sushi and cigars, well, shoot, those are two of my favorite things. So thank you so much. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back up the live chat. I see that, let's see, Devin Richards got in here first. What's the best use model truck, in your opinion, for someone starting off locally with the 18-foot trailer? Can't decide between Cummins or Power Stroke. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's your answer. Call Ty, 417-483-2764. And in fact, we had a Cars on the Move monthly roundtable last night. We do it once a month. Small group, great participation, great questions. So you may want to look into that. Go to autotransportintel.com, click on roundtable, or just give Ty a call, ask him what's going on with the roundtable. So thank you, Devin, so much for a great first question. Ty is here. What's up, Ty? Maida, Maderos, she's here. She's got questions. Murphy Auto Transport's here. Mark Superflow is here. What's up, Mark? How about that meeting today, Mark? You know, I say it. When you're at Auto Transport Intel, we're not just making videos. We're growing business. We had an amazing meeting today. Great job, Mark. Wow, that was stellar. That was stellar. I'm telling you, there it is. All right, Mark, thank you, buddy. Bourbon and cigars. Another two of my favorite things, I'm telling you, and those two go to... See, the thing is, Thai, sushi, you want sushi and sake. And then Mark, yeah, you want bourbon and cigars. So thank you guys so much. Everything that, the super chats that I get, 70% goes to the channel, 30% goes to YouTube. It's worth it. What a great platform. So thank you so much. And if you do not know Mark at SUPERFLO Systems, you see the DC for Dispatch Center, text him, say, I need better software. Kimberly is here. What's going on, Kimberly? Welcome to Auto Transport Intel Tuesday Nights Live with your host, Jay. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Carlos Braxton, ACB Logistics is here. What's up, Carlos? Part of the core. Tony Thomas says hello. What's up, Tony? Joe says 5x5 in the ecosystem. What's up, Joe? Thank you guys for tuning in, saying hello. And I'm moving a little quick tonight because I want to get to the interview. Man, this show moves so fast. Lionel Yates. What's up, Lionel Yates? Go to auto-hauler.com and see if you can get a better deal on insurance. Jake is here. What's up, Jake? Jake at RPM is here. Nick Medor. It's going to be a great show. What's up on the merchandise? I know, man. Dang it. Well, my focus is the show, all right? The show comes before all else. That and phone calls and networking. So that, okay. Anyways, I think you get the point. Anthony Montero's here. What's up, Anthony? Cool. And then we got then we caught up. There we go. We got the super chats. Michael Schlitz from Jacksonville, Florida. What's up? Hey, thanks for saying hello and letting us know where you are. I love, geography, right? I don't even have to go there. Jay's talking about geography now? Flag on the play. That's Dispatching Live, by the way. Tony Thomas, New York City. Joseph McCleary, dude 99 or older, so you don't need an ELD. Mark Muller is here. What's up, Mark Muller? Moosey at TRUCKIFY is in the house. What's up, Moosey? Oh, my gosh. Oh, man, and something nice for Kimberly. Wow. And Ron, oh, my gosh, you guys. Thank you so much. And you know what? Truth is, man, it helps so much. You wouldn't believe how much that helps. You know, people ask me, how do you make money at this, Jay? Well, you know, it's hard, actually. There's not a lot of money in a YouTube channel. I mean, there's a little, just a tiny bit, just enough to keep a drip coming out of the spigot. So thank you so much. That means so much. Thank you guys so much. I'll tell you what, it's 8:10. I gotta get to industry news so we get on time to the in 20 minutes we got Anthony Monteiro. So we gotta hurry up. We gotta get to that. Guys, stick around. And that's right, that's ACERTUS. Do you know all the things that ACERTUS does? Vehicle transport, vehicle storage, title and registration, care and compliance, final mile delivery, which we're talking about tonight. So find out more about how ACERTUS can service your fleet management company or large dealership. Visit ACERTUSdelivers.com and find out more. Let them know that Auto Transport Intel sent you. So here we go. Let's jump into industry news. By the way, I'm gonna start with this. Okay, let's see if this works. So, how's that hood treating you? Check, check. So, that would be, that would not be white glove home delivery. And, I mean, you know, I think this video's real. I don't think this is just some fancy TikTok. Okay, so there you go. So that is why you might want to have a professional do it. So we're going to talk about car home delivery, right? Because that is not what you want. You want white glove service. Especially, you got somebody bought a car, they expect, right, they expect everything. We're going to go over that tonight. So that's why the show is what it is tonight. And this is why everybody keeps talking about it, right? Carvana. I mean, Carvana is setting new standards, right? What other things could you say about Carvana? I'd love to see that in the live chat. Live chat me something about Carvana. Now on ATI, I cover the ecosystem. I identified OEMs, auctions, dealers, shippers, brokers, services, carriers, equipment, regulations, loads, right? There's a lot to it. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of focus on this intersection, because it seems to me that car home delivery is a service. It's a very specific service, combining dealers, shippers, carriers, equipment, loads. Why does Jay keep doing karate when he talks about this? It feels I don't know. Final mile delivery equals client satisfaction. Drive for ACERTUS. This is the video edit from last week. So check that out. Drive for ACERTUS. I thought that came out really good. Let's see. What's my next slide? Oh, in fact, ACERTUS is hiring. So check that out. Now, this is from Carvana. Hashtag no Richard. Hauler life. Because Carvana is taking pride in, guess what? Their flatbed delivery. Because this isn't how you want to do it. You don't want... I can't believe that's real. I think it's real. Oh yes. It's been Driver Appreciation Week. So Proficient made cookies. Did you see this? The auto transport and the trucking companies know that car haulers make this possible, right? Without transportation. In fact, here, loading an auto transporter requires patience, guts, planning, skill. A well-loaded car hauler is a source of pride and accomplishment. Delivering a load of shiny new automobiles safely and ready for a new owner is something to be proud of. Is unique in the world of trucking, so be proud of what you do and know that we certainly are. Enjoy the events of this week. National Driver Appreciation Week. That's from Hansen and Adkins. RPM says, thanks for driving our success. RPM has weekend loads. Get on the email. Do you need a dispatcher? That's a question from Murphy Auto Transport. In fact, if the answer is yes, are you tired of the calls and the contracts? Call them. Call Murphy Auto. Hey, do you have a company, product, or service to promote on Auto Transport Intel? This is the only car shipping business channel. Bring your information. Let's talk about it. We appreciate car hauling here. What about Dispatch Center? Over 1,000 carriers. There we go. Over 1,000 carriers, over 100 brokers signed up this year. That's awesome. Good job, Mark. That is awesome, dude. Now, industry news just wouldn't be the same without some stuff from Facebook. We got, don't go to Manheim, Ocoee without your gate passes. You'll be redirected to your hotel in your semi-truck to get gate passes printed. Good to know. In fact, why don't you get this? Get an HP 250 mobile printer. Put it in the truck and power it up with a 150 watt cup holder inverter. There you go. Oh, here's another one on Facebook. Man, Facebook talks. Manheim, Central Florida, one of the most unfriendly to transporter auctions there is. Okay, I just read it. Wow, look at that popular post. So, I guess it's more than a couple people. I think someone called it the snake pit. You keep seeing more, regulations. Man, the regulations just keep on coming. Manheim, Nashville. Okay, this is interesting. Manheim, Nashville says, we're back. But it's simulcast only. Okay, so we're kind of back. Maybe? Just a question. I'm just asking. There's a stolen truck alert from Virginia Transportation, $25,000 reward. Be on the lookout for that beauty. 82769. If you see 82769, tell somebody. Oh, here's one. This is weird. Cleveland Division of Police asking for help. So this guy, the vehicle was recovered. The police found the owner's GoPro. So there's the dude on GoPro. Anyways, it's a news story. It was a truck. The truck was taken from JP Logistics, an auto transport company. So have you? Okay. I'm just saying. It's just the news, man. If you are driving alone in your car with a mask on, you don't need a Biden sticker. We already know. Now that's funny. That's why we want to make auctions great again, and it's pretty funny. Can you see that here? Let's zoom in on that. So photo 1, Odessa versus Z66, and then we got photo 2. Biden's at Odessa. I know, it's not that kind of show. Let's see. Oh, PA lawmakers want to stiffen fines for drivers who don't move over. That doesn't sound terrible. Hard to say. Hate to see that, right? Hey, watch it on the big screen. This is, I don't know who took this photo. Oh, Kimberly did. Yeah, this is episode 154 up on the big screen. You know, it's neat that YouTube has caught on more than maybe more than expected, because now you can just cast it. Or hey, this is how you get your car shipping news, right? Auto Transport Intel every Tuesday night. And did you know too? If you missed the live show, you can go to autotransportintel.com. Click on podcast, and then listen to it, get the podcast, and then click on Roundtable, and get your questions answered. And oh, it's that time again. It is time for ELD Punch. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have I could use a quick break. Oh, perfect. It's 8:20. I think we're right on time. So I got my ELD Punch. Guys, stick around. We're gonna be right back. Hey, did you know about the TRUCKIFY links on Central Dispatch? Central Dispatch is like, doing what? No, they probably already know. So if you go in the reference ID, now there are hyperlinks. Copy and paste that into your browser. Book it. Negotiate. Get it while it's hot with TRUCKIFY.
Access is everything. Hi everybody, this is Bill Zadites inviting you to become a member of CMG Premium. CMG Premium provides you with an upgraded level of knowledge, research, data, analysis, and much more. With VIP content curated from all of our industry verticals, you'll have more access with CMG Premium. Start your 45-day free trial by visiting autoremarketing.com and click on the green tab labeled Members. That's the green tab labeled Members at autoremarketing.com. Have access to more with CMG Premium.
I'm a huge fan of auto remarketing. I read auto remarketing pretty much every day. And in fact, at auto remarketing, there's the CMG Premium membership, but you can get some articles for free. Great articles, such as this one. As hurricane season arrives, Carfax provides a flood of information. And check this out. Top 10 cities with flooded cars. Dude, that alone, you could spend at least a minute on this thinking, how can this information benefit you? I mean, flooded cars is, it's horrible. In fact, hey, listen, right? Got to be careful. This is happening right now. Hurricane Sally. So obviously we want people to be safe. Just like, I don't want anybody's car to be repoed, but we do need to know how many repos there are, in which markets, etc. How about, here's a headline. GM partners with Uber to put more drivers in electric vehicles. It's interesting. EV adoption. In fact, Electrify America launches Electrify Home Division. And on this, Electrify America has created a new division to supply home charging products to residential customers, part of the company's mission to make charging electric cars as convenient as possible. That's a pretty good idea, actually. That's what it's going to take. And it makes me wonder, are there going to be like, EV chargers on transporters? Someone's going to have to figure out how to mix the charger with the transporter. Kenworth launches 2 new electric trucks with up to 200 miles range. Is that hard to believe, or is that, is that right in line with what you were thinking? It's pretty interesting. Electric, man, everything's going electric. Volkswagen to slash shipping emissions. Now, I don't know if that's a new headline, but there's your moment of zen, right? Right. Not bad. Good placement. Let's see here. Oh, did you see this? An auto-carrying ship could usher in the era of sustainable shipping. This is the Ocean Bird. The Ocean Bird features vertical metal or composite wings to harness wind energy propulsion. They'll be raised and lowered telescopically and will be fully rotational. Wow. The ship will have diesel engines for entering and leaving port to augment the sails to maintain schedules. Wind-powered car carriers will generate less speed than today's conventionally powered ships, take about 12 days to cross the Atlantic, carry about 7,000 cars. Intense, man. Ohio dealer launches digital tool for pre-delivery paperwork. Okay, attention. Note, pre-delivery paperwork, right? That makes sense. This thing's called Zip Deal, and it shows customers finance and insurance product options, solicits online reviews, basically to help save time. So I wonder if, since they got the consistent process and they're saving money with higher profitability, will this lead into the car home delivery transport part of the deal? Probably. Probably will. Here's a question. Has anyone sold a car to Vroom that still had a bank loan? Found that interesting. It's a bit of a long answer, but good question as we get into online car buying. How about so-and-so says we've seen 0 increase in people wanting home delivery. Have you guys seen any increase? It surprised me. We've had some, but not as many as I thought we would. 20, give or take a few per month. It's gone down over the past couple months. Interesting. I think those are recent comments. So that's why we're going to talk about it tonight. Car home delivery. This is last week's. Did you see this? The Wheel of Topics, September 2020. Great show. I'm working on a video edit of this, because this Thank you, Brian Riker, for putting this together. Have you seen this? Let's see, what do we got here? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. How are we doing? How's the stream? You guys, is the stream okay? Is the stream okay? Put that into the live chat. Is the stream okay? I just got a YouTube message that we might have a bit of a rush, so hang on. Hold on to your spaceships. So I'm putting a video. Stream is good. Awesome. Thanks, Ty. Putting a video together because really this is a huge topic, right? Are dispatchers illegal? You know, because you hear the dispatchers are out there running around and they're just, you know, booking willy-nilly. Well, apparently, maybe not. In fact, maybe there's more carriers doing that than dispatchers. So we're going to check that out. We'll look for this video. I'm going to release this soon. It's not done yet. But I do go live 4 times a week. Keeps me pretty busy. Tuesday night's live. Tomorrow's Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. You know, dispatching live on Thursdays. Cars on the Move on Fridays. Join the live chat. Check it out. Let me know what you're looking for. This is what's happening tomorrow. Me and Ty are going to be live with Ryan at 2 o'clock with Ben and Mike. Dispatching Live is load board search advice, where you can see me. Let's see here. Here's this one. Right? You're looking for a load. You're looking on the load board. Is it going to be any good? Well, who's going to find out? Well, we are live at noon, so join me and Sue. And then Cars on the Move is Fridays at noon. Dealers, auctions, and carriers. That's me and Ty. Ty is on location. In fact, last Friday, he was at Z66 in Tulsa, running around and stuff. Yeah, there's the live chat. Running around and stuff. That's why we're the Car Shipping Business Channel. But hey, you know, next Tuesday night, dude, car data protection with Andrea Amico. How much do you know about privacy for cars? Did you know that when you hook up your phone in that rental car and you're hanging out and you're having a great time and punching in addresses and all that stuff and you're out there running around and stuff, and then someone else gets the car and pulls up your home address and all that stuff, and they're running around and stuff? Yeah, man. We're going to talk about it. That's going to be an awesome show. And then you think about it from there. Okay, now wait a minute. Car data protection. They're talking about connecting everything being an appliance, your EV truck, connected to the internet. That's going to be an awesome topic, man. This is the Car Shipping Business Channel. I really appreciate you sticking around, joining us tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining the live chat. And get your questions ready, because that's right. Jake knows, Andrea. Get your questions ready, because what we're going to do is right after the break, we're going to be live with Anthony Monteiro, President of Automotive Retail at Draiver, and he's going to give a presentation about car home delivery. You aren't going to want to miss it. Stick around. We're going to be right back.
Have you checked out the latest updates from Dispatch Center? We have been busy perfecting workflows and adding new features. Keep an eye out for things such as upgraded messaging, advanced notifications, and self-dispatching. Our messaging center now sends emails and text messages to the admin when a message has been received. These notifications help to ensure a message is never missed. Advanced notifications are simply notifications that are sent out if one of the loads on your route has a price increase. Have you ever wished that you could dispatch a load without waiting for the broker to approve your request? This is now possible. Brokers and dealerships can enable self-dispatch on a carrier's account, allowing the carrier to complete a dispatch without manual approval from the posting company. This is a great time saver if you already have an established and trusting business relationship. Carriers, ask your favorite brokers and dealerships to mark you as self-dispatch today. Lastly, have you noticed related load suggestions when you use our search feature? These suggested loads are vehicles that fit within the route that you've searched and may be a great fit for any additional open spaces or your backhaul. Dispatch Center is constantly being updated and upgraded. Keep an eye out for emails detailing new features and tips.
Okay, so I hear a knock at the door. And by the way, I've already been corrected. You know, you just can't do everything perfect. So it's Andrea. Is it Amico or Amico? Let me know, Jake. So while we're doing that, while we're getting straight and situated, let's go to. So we're live with Anthony Monteiro, president of Automotive Retail at Draiver. Anthony, can you see us and hear us okay?
I could see you, Jay. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Thank you so much for your patience and for joining me tonight. Please do me a favor. Please introduce yourself to the Auto Transport Intel audience and let us know what we're going to do tonight.
All right. Hey, I'm Anthony Monteiro. As Jay said, I'm the president of Automotive Retail at Draiver. Draiver is a transportation company, but we put a little spin on it. We looked at what Uber and Lyft was doing years ago, and we said, hey, why don't we build a network of people who can show up at a dealership or a business or anywhere, get in that vehicle and drive it off and bring it somewhere. We've expanded that into picking up packages or taking paperwork to customers. This whole home delivery thing really expanded into many different aspects of what we need to do for dealers and businesses, but mostly moving vehicles. And we've been doing it for many years. We started in the fleet and rental business where Hertz and Avis and Budget and Penske Truck Lease would say, hey, I've got all these vehicles and I need to move them from point A to B to C, but I don't want to wait around for a trucker. I don't want to put it on a flatbed. It's too expensive in some cases. I just need to move it from this lot to that lot. I don't want to hire a bunch of guys because I only need to do it 20 times today and 3 times tomorrow and maybe 70 times on Wednesday. So just give me some drivers as I need them. So we built that business out. And as we built it out, we learned a lot of things. We learned about logistics of it all, right? How many drivers can fit in the vehicle and take it to point A to B and then get them all back, right? So sometimes you need a chase vehicle. Sometimes you don't because you're bringing one back. So we built an AI system around looking at where it originates and where it terminates and chain link all of these movements together. So really in a nutshell, that's what we do at Draiver. We supply a managed workforce, contractors, Uber-esque type drivers. Some of them do Uber and Lyft at night, and they move cars during the day. But we tied it all together with logistics, which we really had to do to get the efficiencies out of it, because just putting a driver in a car and moving one at a time with a chase car really wasn't efficient, didn't make a lot of sense, and it didn't save any money. It actually could drive the cost up. So what we do is really drive that cost down on those short to mid-range moves that a lot of people don't want to do. Well, the car haulers don't want to move a car 7 blocks down the road, and the dealers today and businesses don't want to invest in people to do that because they don't know how many they need to do. It's such a fluctuating number, and to staff it up, you end up with a lot of, what we call dwell time, or people standing around really with nothing to do. So they use our platform to say, hey, I need you to get this car to this customer's home today. How soon can you have a driver here that meets a certain criteria, whether it's a white glove or a service pickup and delivery that might have to do some paperwork or explain how to get in and out of the car or use certain controls. So that's what we provide at Draiver.
That's the thing, is that not only is it sounds really complicated logistics wise, but then the process required to fulfill all the expectations of the customer, right? I mean, you've got a lot of moving parts here.
Tons, right? And I'm out here in Kansas. I'm in your neck of the woods, and I saw you put up the little the map of the Hurricane Sally. I live in Destin, Santa Rosa Beach, so we kind of just escaped to the north when Sally was coming in the other day. So we're out here in Kansas. We sat here all day long looking at how we can improve our software logistics. What are some of the things that our customers are telling us today? We sat in a big room, and I'm in this conference room right now, calling our customers saying, what would make your job easier? What would make your job more efficient? I know you spend a lot of time trying to plan a move, right? You've got to move 50 or 60 cars today. What's the easiest way to do that? What's the most efficient way? And what we're saying is, well, if you need to move all these cars, it's going to require X number of drivers for X number of hours, right? But in some cases, they need to do other things. They say, well, on the way there, I need to pick up a part at my sister's store. So how do we do that, right? How do we chain together moving a car, but also doing other things as we link what we're calling now a task? And a task could be moving a person, because we're finding, in this new COVID world, customers don't want to come into the dealerships as much as they did before, obviously. And some dealerships, can't even let customers in their showroom without certain criteria put in place. So we had to figure out a way to get those cars to the customers, or get people to the customer's home where they could retrieve their cars. For example, pick up a trade-in car, bring it back to the dealership.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a lot of things. I mean, and also so I went for a walk today, and just on my walk, I saw 2 Amazon vans doing what they need to do. And I started thinking, how many Amazon vans are in the city doing that? Everything has gotten so mobile. Everything's about mobility and delivery and transport. So, I mean, you're on it. You're not just talking delivering vehicles that were bought online. You've also got test drives. You've got concierge service pickup and delivery, and then parts and all kinds of other. Yeah, I mean, that sounds really complicated. And
super complicated, but again, as many moves as we've done over a 5-year period, we've been able to train our AI to learn what a human does when they plan a trip, right? I want to move this vehicle from here to there. I want to move it. So it kept learning and learning and learning, and it started to learn traffic patterns and time of day and what would be the best. And if I had a chase vehicle that had one more capacity, right, instead of a 4-person vehicle, get a 5-person vehicle for the chase. Or maybe if you could get a 10-passenger van, then your efficiency goes way up, because you're lowering the cost of heads by one entire driver for that trip. So a lot of that logistics brought into the actual movement of vehicles, and then everything else that goes with it. Absolutely. But it's what makes it work.
Well, and that's the thing, is that this is not just simple flatbed delivery, which has its own challenges. And this isn't just 10 people in a van doing drive-away for an auction. You've got multiple hybrids here.
Absolutely. And, the cool part about what we're doing and what our customers tell us that they love is that they can hybrid this, right? So they can use their existing staff. So we're not coming in and say, hey, blow out all your porters, get rid of all your retired drivers, bring our software in and help improve the efficiencies of that person, right? Let's say you're sending a salesperson on a dealer swap, which happens all the time. Well, it's about 2 hours away and 2 hours back. They meet and swap keys. They should be back in about 4.5 hours. Well, the guy's gone for 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
where'd he go? Where have they been? And nobody has any trackability or any efficiencies around that. And that's what we bring to the customer is, I know exactly where that person went, because they have to use the app. We drop a cookie crumb every 500 meters. So if they go off route, we know they went off route. If they break down, we have rescue, emergency rescue. Press a button, an Uber driver will come and rescue the driver immediately. And then we'll call a tow truck or one of the other guys on the channel tonight and get a flatbed and come and haul that car back. But, there's a lot of planning that people don't realize, maybe many do, but many don't, of how to move all these vehicles around. And when it comes to home delivery, folks have never really done this, right? Or they've never done it with any scale at all. And we'll talk about Carvana and their model. And listen, Carvana is legit, but we've got 44,000 used car dealers, 17,000 new car dealers. Why do we need a Carvana? Like, seriously, why do we need a Carvana? Our industry could snuff Carvana out in literally a finger snap if we did it right and we all band together. And listen, I'll talk about my presentation, how to take the best out of Carvana, get rid of the bad, right? The extra infrastructure that you don't need. But I've been in the car business since '89. I want to see my business partners and dealers and friends in this industry, the one selling those cars, not some, company that comes on the scene that's not even part of our industry and all of a sudden has got this huge market cap. It doesn't make sense.
Well, and I think I've heard sentiments like that echoed, no matter where you go, no matter what your vertical is that you come back to who's local in your community that knows how best to serve you rather than an entity across the country that just doesn't know your market. I think there's ways they can try to make up in customer satisfaction and things like that. But I did want to ask you this: I think you've got some presentation material.
I do.
I'd like to see that before we bring in Jake and Ty, and before we get to some of this isn't an investigation of how the whole business works, but rather I think what I've seen is this is a tough industry to fully understand the demand for and where it's headed. And from everything I've seen, home delivery is going to keep on growing. In fact, I saw Joseph McCleary put in the live chat. He'd like to learn how to use home delivery to grow his business. There's a lot of business opportunity here for folks that either want to grow their business in a new direction or be a driver in home delivery. So I want to learn more about how you made the decision to focus on this market.
Sure. And before I go into it, I'll give just a brief history of why, right? Why did I do this? Why did I invest my career into this? Let's build a network of drivers to move cars around. So I've got a long history in the car business. Worked at dealerships for many years, worked at an enterprise level at companies like Sonic, and worked at enterprise level at companies like CDK. Most recently ran all the software application development for eLead CRM company. And we built one of these widgets, right? And I call them widgets now because that's what they are, right? They plug into your website. They do some math calculations. You put your car in the virtual shopping cart. You might be able to add some things to it and so on and so forth. We thought that was the holy grail of, hey, everybody's going to go online, buy all these cars. Car dealerships are going to be able to compete with Carvana, and this is going to be great. Well, the reality was, after we got in about 200-300 stores and we're visiting these dealerships to learn more about how can I improve your software, I want to learn what's going on. Well, guess what? They only were doing about a third of the process, right? They were, well, I got the guy in the shopping cart and I got him approved, but how do I get him the paperwork, right? Half the states still don't let digital paperwork happen all the way. It's getting closer, but it's not all the way there yet. The customer says, I want to test drive the car. Well, you have to come in. Well, wait a minute. That broke the whole chain of, well, I'm not really buying it remotely if I have to come in. And then the last piece was, well, it wasn't the last, it was the second to the last, was what's my trade worth? We're in a business, and everybody on this call knows we're in this really unique business of, there's a thing that I own that I want to give you back and you have to give me some money for it, right? Amazon doesn't do that, right? Amazon doesn't go, hey, you're buying a new computer, let me appraise the one that you have and then I'll give you some money for it. And hey, I know you owe some money. So now you got this whole, you owe more than the car's worth. How do you actually get somebody to appraise that car that's not going to come into your dealership and be accurate with the number? I can swag it. I can get close. There's many really cool tools. So we had to figure out, how do I, either get that car back to the dealership so somebody can physically appraise it. We took it a step further. We created now an application for our marketplace drivers to go to that place and take some photographs and digital images and recording, does it smell, and what's the tread wear, so that you can get a real inspection with this marketplace of workers that we put together. So we're trying to kind of fill in all these little gaps that are in this business that we found were huge. So I'm going to do this presentation. I'll try to go quick because I know this audience isn't really like a car dealer and let me learn how to do this, but I want to kind of paint the picture of the landscape and why home delivery regardless of what that sentiment was of that Facebook poster, it's down a little bit. It's going to be down. It's going to be up. But at the end of the day, I think we all have to admit it's not going away. And the Carvanas will probably not go away unless we get our act together and shove them out or push them out of the business. But consumers have already tasted it, right? Consumers know that this home delivery thing exists. Turn on the TV and Carvana's just hammering ads of home delivery. And it's become a name brand. And a name brand synonymous with home delivery, which is interesting because if you're a marketer in this business of selling cars, just tell them I do the same Carvana process. And you don't have to explain what that is because everybody already knows, right? So I'm going to talk about how do we leverage that, but why will this continue to be bigger and bigger and bigger? And if you're in this vehicle movement business, how do we all supply that service? And all of us make a lot of money, but also give the consumers what they want and help these dealers continue to thrive through this new world of car sales.
Great. Yeah, no, it's interesting as you say that thing. You're right. There will be curves, there'll be up and downs. We all know that. Load boards, whatever you're monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is here to stay. I truly believe that. I've been interested in the home delivery topic for months now. And I also know, yes, it didn't just get here. There were premium services for home delivery. Is it years?
Many years.
Right.
We had one 20 years ago when I was at a Mercedes store, 20 years ago, but it was very limited. It's very micro, and it was only to a certain clientele that qualified, right? It wasn't an everyday thing, and it still isn't. It still is not to this day an everyday thing. And we'll probably talk about this a little bit later of everybody says they do it now. Go on any website, right?
Right.
They all say they do it. But guess what they're not doing is it.
You pull back the curtain, you go in the webinar, and I have heard major dealers say, yeah, we have our controller's not happy about the cost. It's a problem with the staff. There are multiple problems just doing it yourself. I had one dealership say, not to me, but another dealer, should we start getting some trucks? And I thought, well, that's mind-blowing. That's not a question anybody ever wants to ask if that's not your primary business. Do not buy trucks if you're not in transport.
And I cover that in one of my slides, but you want to buy trucks and hire more people. Is that your business model now, right?
Exactly.
You sell cars.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so I'll get going. Can I share the screen?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. And let me just put this in pre-zo mode. All right, so hey, football season just starts, so I figured, we're going to start marketing. We've been marketing, but I changed it a little bit to let's play off football because most dealers and guys like us, we love football, right? So, do you have a good playbook? And, remember a couple of years ago when they changed where you kick the football off at? Well, everybody had to change their plays, right? The game is still the same, but I need to change how I handle that kickoff play. When they changed the tackle rule where you couldn't use your head to go directly into the player and tackle them, you had to tackle them with your head to the side. The tacklers that have been doing the same thing since they were in Pee Wee football had to learn how to tackle differently. So even though the game is the same, the plays have changed. And this home delivery and Carvana coming on the scene, COVID hitting us, Vroom coming on the scene, CarMax is getting into the business, put a big challenge on the dealership's plate of how do I do this, right? Can I do this? Can I afford to do this? This is hard. This is just telling a sales guy to take a car to someone's house is not doing home delivery, right? Just finding a porter to tell him to go pick up a vehicle for service because the customer is afraid to come in the dealership, that's not a strategy. And if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a game plan, we all know you're not going to win this game. So one of the things I wanted to figure out 5 or 6 years ago was, how do I solve the last mile, right? Because transporters and in many other segments of vehicle movement still have that last mile challenge. And dealers moving vehicles around lot to lot locally is a challenge for them. They've been doing it for many years, but it's not organized typically, and it's not monitored or measured. And this is one of the areas, if you don't monitor or measure something, costs get out of control. But the reality is, when you start measuring it, you heard someone say, hey, it's expensive. Well, you know why it's expensive? Because I just started measuring it, because it was expensive before, because they didn't just start moving cars today, right? It wasn't this new thing that happened. It's always been happening. They just never really focused on it. So we wanted to figure out how you do the last mile. First of all, let's look at the landscape here, right? And I had another slide. I took some of the slides out because I didn't want to spend hours on this.
Perfect. This is great.
There's this new buzzword, right? Everybody hears it: digital retailing, the digital retailing this, the digital retailing that. I call it remote selling and remote servicing, because digital retailing is more along the Amazon thing, right? Where you go and can truly like put something in a cart, it shows up. And it's funny because we joke about Amazon, because we have a client that moves at scale Amazon vans, both back and forth for servicing at their Mercedes store, but also delivers the Sprinter vans to them at their lot, where they put them together and then dispatch them out for use. So we're saying, hey, we're the logistics for a partner to give Amazon trucks and get them their trucks on time. So it's kind of a joke that, like, hey, Amazon's actually using our software to get their trucks on time. But so this whole digital retailing landscape is really remote selling if you look at it. But there's so many players now in the widget that I was talking about earlier is a commodity. And I'm not taking anything away from any of these logos on the screen. They're amazing companies and have amazing software, but truly they've become a commodity. Does it really matter if I use the Roadster one or the Moto Insight one or the CDK one? They all are doing the same thing. And at the end of the day, if you can't figure out the logistics of how the rest of the pieces fit together, you really only have a fancy lead capture tool, right? I've calculated a payment, I've got the lead, now what do I do? And I think that's where everybody's sitting. Now what do I do? And everybody on this call, if we can help them figure out how to move that car around, there's a huge market opportunity. So this is an interesting slide. This study was done actually pre-COVID. And in 2018, Tesla Carvana sold 420,000 cars across the United States without a customer going to a dealership. So that's a lot of cars. It's not a lot compared to the 16.5 million new cars that are sold and the 44 or so odd million pre-owned cars that are sold every year. But it's a fair enough a number for people to say, oh, well, that's interesting. People are doing this. 2019, it went up 650,000, not a massive increase, because this is what my sentiment is about this. There's no infrastructure in place to do it. So the number can't grow that fast because you're only reliant upon Tesla, Carvana, and Vroom in a couple of progressive dealers to do this. So how fast can that number really grow? Carvana and Vroom can't grow that fast. So you're not going to see 5 or 7 million because their infrastructure can't handle it. Now you look at 2020, and this was pre-COVID. This number is going to be bigger because of COVID. But the projection was, this was done in 2019, that about 1.4 million, because more and more dealers started to adopt this home delivery model because of the pressure that Carvana was putting on them in their market, where the consumer was saying, I want you to bring me the car and do home delivery. And the dealer was like, we don't do that. They're like, great, we'll buy it from Carvana then. So as that pressure started to mount in certain markets where Carvana was present in Vroom, they said, well, let's do this. So they started to come on services like ours, and we started to help them, in other companies that do what we do. We started to help them do this. So that number is going to be bigger in 2020 than the 1.4. But think about it now. As soon as the paperwork piece gets done, where I can completely digitally do a car loan, get everything wrapped up in a nice little package electronically, and then services like ours and other companies get in the vehicle movement business and the home delivery business to facilitate it, that number is going to grow very quickly because the consumer sentiment is there for it to happen. This isn't happening because everybody's raising their hand going, hey, I want to do home delivery. It's happening like the internet happened. Consumers are starting to put pressure on the retailer, excuse me, to provide that service. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. This is, I mean, you're making a lot of sense, and you can only scale so fast. And I'm curious what that number is. If 1.4 million was the projection in 2019, love to know what it is.
So we are trying to track it ourselves, but we'll have some real good data close to the end of the year of what that number is. And I'll do a webinar on it and talk about how it grew and things like that. So
awesome.
Stay tuned, I guess.
Yes.
And then, look out to 2023 is forecasted about 8 million, 8.5 million. That number is going to grow significantly. All these numbers are going to grow because of this, right? And with everything, there's a silver lining. COVID's horrible, no doubt about it, but there's a silver lining here because it's actually created a paradigm shift in our industry of moving vehicles from a lot to a consumer's home that really wasn't that prevalent. We had a couple of outlier companies like Carvana being disruptors. I hate that word, but they were, right? They disrupted the industry. They provided this thing that's always been there, but they provided a process, and this is all process, and they provided some infrastructure for themselves that scaled at a certain level, but it fails to scale at a big level. And I'll get into that piece of it. So how do we continue to supply this service? And that's really what it is, of logistics and mobile workforce, and expandable, but not only expandable, but collapsible. And that's something that people hate to talk about, right? Because everybody wants to say, hey, I'm going to grow your business. You're going to get 5x return, you're going to get 20x return, and for only $5.95 a month. You hear it all the time. What happened with COVID? Your workforce got collapsed, right? So when you have a mobile workforce that is on demand, if I need one today, I'm going to pay for one. If I need 100 tomorrow, I'm going to pay for 100, but I don't have to worry about staffing it for my max capacity. I don't have to worry about laying people off. I don't have to worry about furloughing certain individuals. If I don't like them because they're not performing, I don't have to write them up 3 times and go to HR and do that whole song and dance. We have a button, we joke about it a little bit. It's kind of not funny, but it is. We have a button in our system that is ban. So if you're a driver that's not performing for whatever reason, the user of the system just goes, I don't like that guy doing business for me, click ban. They never get a job, or a request goes to them again. It's truly that easy because they're independent contractors, and the way the platform works, you can offer them to move your car, or you can tell them, I don't want you to work for me. That simple. So just in our business alone, I'm using 5 to 7x because our forecast of year-end 2020 has already been surpassed by 100%. And we still got 4 months to go of onboarding clients and moving vehicles. So, we didn't expect to have this much volume of people asking us to move cars to homes. We knew it was happening, and we felt it was going to be a kind of a slow growth pattern. It was so accelerated that we're working to try to be more efficient on our end and get more drivers, which actually is not really that hard these days because of so many people that are out of work.
Right, you mentioned that's not your problem, is it? Finding drivers?
Finding drivers is not our problem because people are trying to make ends meet and find extra work to do. The Uber drivers, and listen, Uber's a great partner of ours. We've been partners with those guys for 4 years. We were one of the first Uber for Business partners, and we moved thousands of people at scale all day long because we use Uber to connect drivers to the next closest job. So instead of taking a driver and moving the car from point A to point B, and then bringing them all the way back, and then taking that and moving it over here, or go and pick something over there. We'll say, oh, there's a vehicle that needs to be picked up right next to point B. I'll just hop them over in an Uber for a mile, pick that vehicle up and bring it to wherever. So that's part of the logistics of how our system works.
It's the same logistics in auto transport. You don't want a deadhead as much as possible.
Absolutely not. So we figured, hey, we're using Uber drivers, let's partner with Uber. So we partner with Uber, and it's right in our app, and it calculates, you know, if the Uber driver is going to be nearby and how many, and that driver doesn't have to do anything other than click the button, say I'm ready to get picked up, and it instantly dispatches the Uber. It's all tied to the trip and the invoice and the RO or the VIN, or whatever how they want to bill it. So moving on.
Amazing.
So, you know, I ask our clients or potential clients, listen, do you even want to do this? Right? I get it if you don't. It's not easy. So up front, is this something that you want to do? And, you know, the answer automatically is yes, of course. Yes, we do. Absolutely. We already have it on our website. So, you know, we've already made the commitment. Let's figure it out. But then, you know, what's the current process? What are you doing, right? Do you have the widget on the website? Do you offer remote test drives? Are you doing offsite trade inspections? How are you getting the number for that trade-in car today? Can you do paperwork digitally? Or do you even have part of your process digitized, and maybe there's some physical wet ink that you need to do, which is a service that we offer. If you need to go get wet ink, we can dispatch the driver not only to bring you the car to test drive, but to also sign some paperwork in that same, you know, trick task. And then, you know, are you offering home delivery? Now, in another slide, I'll talk about, are you offering or are you providing it? Because those are two different things, right? To offer something and to actually do it. Are you doing it? And that question typically is the yes, I think we are. And they call some other person in to ask them, because you know that they haven't strategized yet, and there's no process, and they're starting to feel a little bit of the pain of not having a process, because that's truly when things break down and customers notice. So, and then some of these questions, have you trained your staff, right? Are your internet templates up to date? Do they facilitate this whole piece of the buying process? When someone calls in and says, hey, I want to do a home delivery, do the people on the phone and your BDC and who's managing your sales process, do they even know what to say? Because if they're not used to it, guess what they're going to say? They're going to go, well, no, we don't do that.
Everybody looks at each other. They cover
hey,
the phone and they go,
do we do that home delivery thing?
Do we do that?
Do I have to do it?
Exactly.
You know, so,
who does it?
So again, what does Carvana have? Well, they have a process. They say this is what we do, and that's exactly what they provide inside their service. And that's why they're starting to gain market traction in these markets where they're present. And then what's the trade-in process, right? Customer says, hey, I'm 30 miles away. I want to buy this car, but you know, what's my trade worth? Well, it could be a $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 vehicle, or even if it's $30,000 vehicle, I don't want to miss it by $3,000, right? If I'm a dealer, how do I get a true appraisal of that vehicle and not miss it by $3,000? Am I willing to invest $60 to go send somebody to pick that car up and bring it back to me so I can walk it and see if there's any dents or scratches? Or will I pay $40 to have some agent go out and take 32 pictures and a video and record whether or not it's scratched or dent or maybe smells like a dog? Those are things that dealers now have to deal with in this new environment. And I know I'm a little bit off of vehicle transportation, but it all comes together, right?
To me, it really does. That's the thing, is that once you venture into the peripheries of all of these verticals, you realize somebody has to do that work. Somebody has or you don't do it, and then you're rolling the dice, right? You're giving up that customer.
You're giving up that market share, which is, again,
right,
listen, this isn't a huge market right now. It's not huge. It's going to incrementally grow, but if you ignore it, a couple of things are going to happen. It's going to get so big that you can't catch up. Your competitors that have their shit together, so to speak, will beat your butt, right? And then you'll be playing catch up, right? And you won't be able to catch up because your customers will already have defected. And these are some simple questions. Why the heck are they buying from Carvana? Their cars aren't any better than anybody else's. We all go to the auction. Everybody on here has probably been to an auction a billion times. Carvana standing in the same lane as ABC dealer, right? Well, it's the same car. Why are they buying it from them? Is their finance rates any lower? Well, no, everybody uses the same dang banks, right? There's captives, and then there's big banks that lend out car loans. Everybody's got low rates today. Are their prices better? In most cases, they're higher. If you compare them side by side, they're higher. They're paying more for the auction. Their margins are small. We can look at Carvana, and what my next slide we'll talk about, why the hell do I want to copy that business model? They're losing money. It's stupid, right? Well, but they're gaining market share. So somebody's putting money into the deal because they see the future of it. So sometimes you got to roll the dice on the model in hope that, look at Tesla 4 years ago, right? Everybody says there's no way these guys survive. They're losing so much money. Their investors are pulling out. They're done, right? Everybody wrote Tesla off as done. Look at them today. They've got a bigger market cap than GM, Ford, and FCA combined.
And they're so far ahead in some arenas.
And again, that's not just cars. Well, that's a whole nother investment.
Fair enough.
Right. Are their facilities better? Well, they don't even have facilities, right?
But we're talking about vision.
We're talking about vision, and we're talking about processes, right?
Yes.
That's what they're selling. Look at back in March of 2020, Carvana was at $22, and today it's $235. Somebody's betting on the come that this thing is going to work, and it's not just because of COVID, but COVID accelerated that chart. There's no doubt in my mind. Carvana has been spending money on ads like it's going out of style, because you can't watch a TV
constantly on YouTube. It's like every third ad
everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was at a 50th birthday party a couple of weeks ago, and somebody asked me what I did, and I said, I do something like what Carvana goes. They go, oh, that's the home delivery car thing. That was it. That's all I had to tell them, and they knew exactly what I did. That was it.
Wow, that's powerful.
It was perfect. I didn't want to talk to him anyway. So
that is a good point.
Joking. So, and again, I talk to these dealers because I've been in this business for so long, and I've been in the website building business. There's so many things, but I just look at their websites and I go, look at their website and look at your website. Your website's this crazy, lights flashing, 60 billion things. Theirs has one simple message. We're the pioneers of online car buying, right? We deliver now in all ways. That's their message. That's all it is. That's their message. It's the new way to buy a car. Sell your car directly to me. Those are their two messages. I'll buy your car directly. Don't have to come to the dealership. Simple, easy, straight messages. Now, they have these interesting no dealership, right? So what are they selling? They're selling, there's no dealership involved. Just like Amazon is selling, don't go to the mall, don't go to the local, whatever store, go online and click. That's the experience that Amazon.
By the way, those malls are now Amazon warehouses, or turning into.
Absolutely.
And that is fascinating.
Gosh, imagine if you were in the mall investment business. It would just be, I hope nobody on this webinar, mall investment business. I'm telling you, that would be something right now.
Wow.
But listen, they're selling the message of no dealerships, right? They're selling the message of you're in control. And if anybody's been in the car business, the first thing that they tell you all day long is control the customer, get them in. That message is gone if you want to play in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And they're putting the customer in control somewhat, but they're delivering this whole experience that people are migrating to because they've been conditioned to go online and click some buttons and things show up on their doorstep.
Right.
Why can't I do it with a car? Well, because buying cars are much more complex than computers or deodorant. And there's a lot more process to it. These guys have it down. You got to give them credit for what they did. They built a clean process. They put their message out there, and they're selling their message, and their message works, right? It's hitting home. And again, I want to keep saying this, but COVID accelerated it. Carvana would never have accelerated with their market share and the ability to buy the ads that they're buying today if COVID wasn't here, because it would have been a slow burn up, just like it would have been in the retail automobile industry. But now it's accelerated. Let's make it happen. Touchless delivery, touchless trade-in, everything is it truly can be, kind of, right? You don't have to shake their hand, but somebody has to touch something because they're moving a vehicle.
Well, and that's where there's a physical delivery that happens in this touchless world.
Absolutely. And we're here in the conference room, and you go on DoorDash and it says touchless, contactless food delivery. Well, somebody touched my food and put it in the bag, and the lady handed me a bag, so like it doesn't float here, right? Somebody touches the
It's interesting.
Cars. So who are we kidding? People are. It's a physical thing, because you're buying a physical thing, which is an automobile. So I need to get it to you, and
it's extremely complicated by a paperwork process, as you touched it. I mean,
process. And I think paperwork's getting closer to be digitized. More and more states are adopting that, and it's getting closer, but it's not completely there. We know it's not there because we're providing a service that we have to physically take the odometer statement, because in multiple states you need wet ink on the odometer statement, or the RMV1 form, or whatever the registration form is. So that in the registration process in many states aren't completely digitized either. So that's a whole nother, who has to go to the registry and register the car. Anyways, the reason I bring this slide up, and this is important for us, because what do you charge for delivery, right? And dealers are saying all the time, well, I can't afford, oops.
And I was looking at this. I was looking at this too. This always catches my eye, so I'm really glad you brought this up.
It's $599, $600, right? I can
anywhere. Flat rate.
Yeah, flat rate of $599, right? So if you're 10 miles away, it's $599. They average it out. I can do most people aren't going to deliver cars across state. Now, here's one thing really cool about platforms like ours. You can do drop ship cars on new cars pretty much anywhere from dealer to dealer. I can have a driver show up that's a mile away from the dealer near the customer's house, which is 8 states away from where you're selling this car, and pick that car up and drive it to the customer's home and do a home delivery 8 states away, or 9. It doesn't even matter. It could happen anywhere, because we can position a driver to the closest place where that customer's home is, or where they need to pick the car up. The other thing is, on these selling cars across state lines, or taking cars in trade, I might just want to run out before I actually do a deal and do a quick inspection of the car before I even try to make the deal to take it in trade with the remote inspection. I don't have to go retrieve it and bring it all the way back here, or have someone take a look at it. But listen, these guys are charging for it. Dealers and businesses need to charge for it. They don't have to give it away. And I think they feel this pressure of, man, I can't afford this, I got to give it away. I took the slide out again. I'm probably adding more talking than I did for just going through the slides, but there was a slide in here where we did a survey, just simply going across the United States, asking customers, would you pay for home delivery? Would you pay for somebody to come remotely appraise your trade? And would you do a deal completely online? 89% of the people said that they would pay for a home delivery. 57% of the people said that they would pay for you to come out and appraise their trade so they wouldn't have to go in. And 75% of the people said that they would buy a car completely online. So the fact that that many people said they would do it, the fact that that many people said that they would pay for it. Now, we had a little slider. So they were willing to pay about $30 for the inspection. They were willing to pay about $60 for the home delivery. Well, That's before it even really became a thing, right? So now it's a thing. You can create a fee for a service and ask anybody. I do it all the time because of what I'm doing now. I just randomly ask people, hey, would you pay somebody if you bought a new car? Would you pay them to bring it to your house? You know how many people have said no to me yet? Zero. Zero people have said no. They go, of course I would. I don't want to go to the dealership. What do you mean?
Right.
If $100, $200, they come up with these numbers, and I'm going like, I could do it for 40, and you're telling me you pay 200. That's a business model for the business.
And those price points interest me, but I know I don't want to get into the weeds, but it is very interesting.
We can have a conversation about it. So I'm going to try to keep moving here.
Yeah.
So again, physical inspection, paperwork, pickup and delivery. This is the infrastructure that Carvana and Vroom has put in place, right? So they provide all these services. They've put infrastructure, they've got people, they've got flatbed trucks, but guess what doesn't scale? Flatbed trucks, vans, additional staff, the processes to manage it, and it requires a high level of consumer engagement to continue. Like if I send the paperwork out in a FedEx envelope and say, hey, sign the paperwork, we'll do the deal, and the person's like, I'll get to that tomorrow, or they go away, or let me think about it. You don't have any more control of getting that transaction completely finalized. But the Vroom guys and Carvana guys, they put all these processes in place to make it easy. Now, if you're a car dealer, how many flatbed trucks do you want to go buy?
Exactly. No.
Right?
Yeah.
The number would be 0.
Yeah.
How many people do you need to staff to drive the flatbed truck and operate it? Now, here's the other question. How many do you need? Right? So you always have to scale for your highest number. So you say, well, how many home deliveries am I going to do? I'm going to do 50 home deliveries a month. That means I need at least one flatbed truck. I can do 2 a day. I need 3 staffers because if one guy's out sick. So how much is that going to cost you? What's a flatbed truck run, and what's 2 full-time staffers and maybe a part-time staffer to run those trucks? Why would I do that?
You are now beyond the dealership business model.
You're now in the vehicle movement business, right? You're a tow truck company, you're a hauler company, and you need to manage your business around hauling vehicles. It doesn't make any sense. I've got case study after case study. I literally was in the office. It was funny. I was in the office of a guy that I know, and we weren't even talking about this years ago. And they were literally getting bids on flatbed trucks because they had built a recon center, and they were just going to haul and flatbeds and hire the staff and move them back and forth. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? He goes, oh, we built a recon center, and I'm buying 2 flatbed trucks, and I'm going to burn. And I'm like, I said, oh, let me show you something. And I showed him this, and like literally the month or 2 after that, they got going, he's like, I couldn't believe I was about to spend $1 million on trucks and people. Like now my bill's like $5,000 a month. Like, this is perfect. And
this is why this is so relevant, Anthony, is that this is what an auto transport business of 3 and 4 car haulers could add to their business to help assist with this growing business model.
Without a doubt, right? Without a doubt, because we have our own network of drive-away guys, right? But we are currently in the market to partner with flatbed truckers and medium hauler truckers, because we still get today with our existing customers, we have Mercedes and BMW and Audi and Porsche dealers that are like, well, Dr. Jones doesn't want me to home deliver his car with a person in it. They want us to put it on a flatbed. So they still need to augment what we're doing with flatbed movement. So we're already looking at, so how do we partner with companies that can supply that service so that we can work together, so our dealers can just go in and say, have some choices of, is it okay for a human to drive it away, or do you need to put it on a flatbed, or do you need to move a bunch of cars at scale, at volume? Or I've got a client in the Northeast that already bought the flatbeds. and he's regretting it, but he's like, hey, can you supply me drivers for the flatbeds, which is a new business model for us, right? We didn't even think about that. We're like, well, yeah, we're already supplying, we supply CDL drivers for any long haulers and big truckers. Right now, we have a network of that. So if there's anybody on this call that has long haulers and needs drivers, we can supply those network of drivers on demand too. You might need an extra couple of guys because you don't have a full-time one. We can supplement that workforce. And that's kind of our big business model. We talked about this, right? Why are people doing this? They don't want to go to the dealership. The average time in the dealership between travel time and in the dealership's 5 hours. Amazon groceries delivered to door and DoorDash is putting people in the mode of saying, hey, I can get stuff on my doorstep. And the advertising from Carvana and Vroom have made this a household name brand of you can have a car show up on a flatbed is what they're branding. But listen, if I'm a customer by a Toyota, do I really care if it's on a flatbed or not?
It's actually a really good question. It's a really good question.
Do I?
You may not.
All of our customers today, we've got many Highline dealerships. Guess what they say? They say, listen, our customers are perfectly fine. I might get 1 or 2 or 3 that say, hey, no, I want it on a flatbed. The other 60 or 70 are perfectly fine. They just don't want to be inconvenienced in the fact that I can drop them a loaner and bring their car in for service, or I can bring them their new car and pick up their trade. They're 1,000% fine with that.
And that brings you back into a local service provider.
100%.
Yes.
100%. It's a local service provider because, Carvana's not in every market, but if they continue to expand, they could be in every major metro market. They do continue to expand. And if I'm a dealer, I want to own this and offer that same service, even if it's only 20% of my business. At least I don't run the risk of losing that customer to somebody else because they're only buying it. And the message here is they're only buying the service. They're not buying anything else because car is a car, right? The finance is the finance, the rate's the rate. They're buying the process and they're buying the convenience of having that car show up in their driveway while they're watching Hulu. Really is what's going on.
Right. Well, they're eating DoorDash, watching Hulu, and getting their car.
Yeah, and they just got their new laptop off of Amazon. So
right.
That's really what's happening.
It is.
So take the good, right? I say this all the time, and I'm not a brain surgeon, but I say, listen, we don't have to reinvent wheels, right? Wheels have been reinvented. You just make better wheels or cooler ones. That's what the software business is, and that's what a service business is Amazon has a model, right? So does Uber, so does DoorDash, so does Carvana in this case. Just take the best of all those things, blend them together and make, put a stake in the ground and say, this is what we're doing, put your little niche out there, and we have, this niche.
The fact is that dealerships are already competing with companies like Carvana. They just need help on the delivery piece.
Absolutely. The delivery and a little bit of the paperwork and then the logistics, right? How do I plan all of these things? There's so many things to plan.
I shorten it by saying delivery, but that's right.
Yeah, but you're right. The holistic piece of delivery, right? So, what's good? The consumer demand is there. You can expand your market. You got a smaller footprint, of physical footprint that you have to have. Maybe you don't need to keep so many cars in inventory these days. You start to do the Tesla model, bring them in as the market demands it and get them in as soon as they show up, get it out of there, right? You can acquire more inventory if you copy their trade-in model where they just basically say, hey, I'll buy your car. I don't care if CarMax's been doing it for years. For some reason, the bigger dealers, the Sonics, the Asbury, the Mile Ones, those guys do that. Some of your medium-sized dealers, they still haven't got to that. Hey, just buy the car, because everyone goes, there's no inventory. Well, just start buying them directly.
Right, that's right.
There's hundreds of millions of cars out there. Just go buy some. And
then let people know you want to buy them.
Let people know that you do that. Make it easy. Go to processing and make it easy. What's the bad side of it? Well, there's a high cost. What is Carvana, right? High. they're losing money. They're bleeding money, but so did Tesla. They're overpaying for inventory. If you go on any blog or website or Facebook about remarketing or used cars, they're always complaining that Carvana is outbidding them at the auctions, the ones that are actually auctioning or even online. Well, that's because they're trying to gain market share. That's their model. I'm going to lose money till I muscle out everybody in my market, and then I'm going to start, doing it like everybody else did, but I've already got my market established. It requires flatbed trucks. We beat that dead horse. Doesn't scale, right? How many flatbed trucks can Carvana really put out into the marketplace to fulfill their need? Now, listen, I'm probably costing myself some business by talking about what Carvana does bad, because technically I could partner with those guys and say, hey, look at this market. I got a bunch of drivers. You don't need flatbed trucks. Let me show up and move those cars for you. But at the end of the day, I want to partner with car dealers that understand our business and people in our industry and help our industry grow, because I feel I'm part of this community of automotive retail.
I don't know if they'd want to outsource. Honestly, I don't know if that's something they would do.
It might not be, but if you can show
maybe somewhere
a business model in certain markets where
Right.
they could have additional reach and provide a same or similar service through something like this, it could be an option. But hey, you don't really want to get in bed with the devil. I'd rather partner with, companies like we're partnering with today, and I won't go down the list because I'll leave someone out and they'll say, why don't you tell them to say me? But they don't have really servicing facilities. So if you're a car dealer, you have a huge advantage, and it's part of your community, and people come in and service their cars there. You got to get them serviced. And they solely rely upon that buyer segment. They don't have any other segment to go off of. It's that home delivery segment, and that's it. They're not getting walk-in traffic and referrals and all that stuff. So that's the only segment of buyer that these guys have to rely on. So they're on the comm is roll the dice that segment gets bigger. Now, we saw the graph that said it's going to. That's why their stock is trending up. Keep the good and drop the bad. I won't go through this piece, but again, it's like, how do you do this? Mostly for dealers. What does it mean, right? When you say, I offer home delivery, you put it on your website, there's a big banner, you've got all of the, I do home delivery. What does it mean? Do you offer it or do you provide it, right? Because I can offer to do a lot of things and actually never do any of them. But I can say that I offered it, but I never actually did it. So,
That's a good point.
And I feel like these guys are just putting it on their website because they feel like they have to.
It's kind of, and that's, I think, from what I've seen and heard, is that's how digital dealership marketing was about a year ago. Many dealers had cars on a website, but that's not how they sold them. They just said, come on down.
That's correct. And you can't change. Listen, these guys didn't have anything in place 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I don't even know how old COVID is these days. 6 months, maybe.
Right, 6.
But so 6 months old. They had no process in place. That wasn't part of their business model. So they can't just snap their fingers and completely change their culture overnight. There's some time that it takes. So, is it free for everybody? Or do you charge for it? What is the strategy around this? Who's responsible to manage it? When you start talking about remote test drives and home delivery and service pickup and delivery, if you're at a large volume dealership, you can't even imagine the number of logistic things that have to happen. The drivers need to be there. They need to be on a time schedule because the consumer's expecting the vehicle at a certain time, right? When you order an Uber, the Uber says, I'm going to be there in 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. If they don't show up, guess what? You're angry. Where the heck's my driver?
And just because it's a car, that's right.
So they're conditioned for that same behavior. So if you can't fulfill it, then you have a problem. You just created a problem that you didn't have before if you jump into this and you don't strategize it, you don't use the right partners to do this with you. who manages it? Is there a person in the dealership now that's a dispatcher?
Exactly.
There has to be.
Thank you.
There
Right.
absolutely has to be somebody that starts to coordinate all of this stuff, because listen, think of home delivery or remote test drive. I'm not just putting the car out there and that's it, right? I dropped home delivery is like, okay, I dropped it off. Thank you very much. Thanks for doing business. Typically, I'll grab your trade and I'll drive it back, right? Transaction's done. Home delivery is, remote test drive is, customer's going to drive the car for 24 hours, 42 hours, whatever it is. I got to go back and get it at some point, right? So when do I go get it? Now, let's say I've got 10 of these going at the same time or more. Well, now the floor plan auditor comes in and goes, where's the 15 cars that I can't find on your lot? And some guy's going, oh, I think Mr. Smith has one, and did we take that one to Mr. And so, listen, if
Check with Jerry Lundegaard.
this is not a willy-nilly deal, right? So you got to account for where are they, when are they coming back, who's picking them up, and at what time, because guess what? Customers have schedules. So they say, hey, I got to come pick the car up at 3:00. Well, it's not like the cable guy where you can say I'm picking up between 3 and 6.
It'd be like managing a go-kart race that suddenly just started.
That's right. You're right. So that's what these cats are dealing with these days, right? So they're trying to do all these things with zero strategy and zero people helping them, and they're sending porters. And I asked another guy, I go, who's doing your home delivery? They go, well, the sales guy goes with the finance manager. I was like, the sales guy goes with the finance manager. They go,
my
yeah,
gosh.
to get the paperwork done. I go, so on a busy Saturday, when it's not COVID, right? What do you do? How you're putting a process in place that's not going to be permanent? Why not build a process that's permanent and partner with companies that can move your cars and help you get that stuff done? So anyway, how do you physically accomplish it? That's the biggest one, right? And is it just home delivery, right? Because there's test drives and service pickup and delivery, which has been forced onto your domestic import independent dealer that only Highline stores ever did for service pickup and delivery. Like your Lexus, BMW, they've done it forever. They've got processes in place. They've got people they partner with. There's probably guys on the show here tonight that are doing service pickup and delivery for car dealers today. But guess what? Now the Toyota guy needs it, and the Honda guy needs it, and the Ford guy needs it, because if they want to be able to compete in their market with guys that are offering this, they have to do it too. And talk about, look at Brian Bedstock over at Paragon Honda. He's doing 80, 90 service pickup and deliveries in Hondas
Amazing.
a day.
Amazing.
Moving on.
Okay. Wow.
So-
I mean, so much great information. Really.
I want I talked about these. These are the things, right? Remote test drives, right? Drop them off, bring them to your door, right? Home delivery. This is just some of the, just talk about what we do, right? And here's the bigger picture though, right? A gig workforce that grows and contracts. I should add it because I did. It retracts with your business.
Grows and retracts, right.
If you want to do something, you always have to plan for your maximum capacity. Right? If I'm going to do 100, I have to plan for 100. I can't plan for 20 and expect to do 100 because I don't have the capacity. So as my capacity expands, I have to be able to grow to it. But as my capacity retracts, I have to be able to retract quickly and not cost me a lot of money and cost me a lot of headache. So with a gig workforce that can expand and grow with your business and do all of these things, lot moves, home delivery, trade-in, offsite expos, refueling and delivery. We have lots of fleet companies that have to refuel their vehicles all the time, or they got to take them in for service. They don't want to staff those people. And it's only 10 miles, 8 miles. So they don't want to stage them all up, put them on a truck, bring them to the service facility, unload them, get them serviced, and then load them back up and bring them back. They're just like, hey, send me 8 drivers and move these 8 vehicles over there to get serviced today, right? And there's 3 of them that need to come back from yesterday. So put the take those 3 back and put 2 drivers in each or 3 drivers in each and bring those all back, right? So you gain your 1-to-1 efficiency on that type of move. Inventory swaps, all of these things that dealers are doing, they can now do at scale. And then we started to throw in these paperwork pieces, the customer ride, the employee ride from dealership to dealership, or customers that cars in service, but we want to go pick them up, so we'll send them an Uber, or the parts on demand, super popular. You know, the cars on the lift, I don't have the part available. My service parts truck is no longer, it's already en route and it's not going to be back for 2 hours. Click, click, click. Driver goes over to Meineke, picks up the part or the tire, brings it back to the dealership. The car's still on the lift. I keep my job going. I keep my efficiency in the shop. It tells you, right, you know, it's going to cost you $20 to go get this part right now, and it'll be here in 18 minutes. Click, right? So a lot of these things that kind of grew out of what we were doing, because we learned from our dealers, like, hey, while you're doing this, why can't you do that? And we always built our platform around, it wasn't always just vehicle movement. It was really a task. How do I complete this task? Moving a vehicle just happens to be one of those things. So I'm going to skip past this, but this is right. So this is today. I pulled this screenshot today for this show.
Nice.
The bottom right-hand corner is really, truly a day of vehicle movement inside of one facility. So all of these lines over here represent, the thicker the line, the more vehicles moving in one direction. The thinner the line are vehicles moving in one direction, and the dotted lines are back and forth. So it's bi-directional. So I got 1-to-1s. This is a one-way going here. So what our software does is it says, okay, I've got this vehicle, this is going back and forth. So cool, that's good. But this one's going one way, but I also have a bunch of vehicles coming back in this direction. And if I bring that driver back at the same time in this direction, I only have to hop them back this far to get them back to where they started. I don't have to bring them all the way back in this direction with a chase car. Now, I also have something that's originating here and going there. So maybe I bring that driver to here, and what our software will do is plan all of these linked trips together and organize it in the fashion that it would dole out the least amount of drivers to complete it at the fastest amount of time for the least amount of money. So this is basically one at a time. I need to move something, and our software logistically will go, how do I connect these things all together to make it the most efficient way that I can move all this stuff around? And these are, every one of these is a vehicle move.
Wow. And that is so, I mean, just that picture is so trucking logistics.
It is, right? And in moving vehicles in trucking logistics are pretty much the same, right? I'm trying to figure out when I start my trip and I end my trip.
The equipment's different.
Equipment's different.
The drivers, there's differences, but it is almost a direct overlap.
Yeah, and again, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We knew that there was logistics around vehicle trucking and vehicle movement. We just spun it to say, instead of putting these vehicles on another vehicle, I'm just going to have a human go to that vehicle and move it.
But as your business grows, then there's more opportunity to connect to over-the-road haulers.
100%.
Which essentially, that is part of the Carvana model.
Absolutely, 100%. And we're doing it, like, as a matter of fact, there's a whiteboard sitting in front of me, and it's one of our highest priorities. We definitely know we need to partner with those companies. We do not want to get into long hauling. We want to get
right. You don't want to be buying Stingers next week.
No, yeah, we want to provide logistics to say, hey, this quantity of moves is much more efficient if I can put it on a hauler. Who is my partner that can fill that job, right? Mm-hmm. Just like Uber is our partner for moving humans, right? So we say we move packages, vehicles, and humans. There's people that we move around, and we don't move people with our drivers in our cars unless they're chases. Uber is our partner for moving the people. So all we do is say, I have a need to move this person from here to here. Uber, I need you to fulfill that. And between their API and our API, all of our logistics work together. And we say, well, this is going to be the most efficient plan, with this part being Uber and this part being marketplace driver, or business driver combined with marketplace driver. So this is like a very simple, example of a couple of things moving around. You click a button that says plan. Our software basically looks at, okay, I'm going to move all these things that I need to move. And then it just comes up with, and it says, okay, here's your trip plan. This driver is going to go from here to here to here to here. And then he needs an Uber back at the last leg, because it's cheaper to put him in an Uber than it is to bring him all the way back with a chase driver that needs to follow him around to all of these places. It's less expensive to drop them in an Uber. It figured all that out in about a minute and a half and planned this, what a human would take forever to do, and most likely would do it inefficiently, right? They would mostly do one way dead ends, or send a chase on every trip. So, at the end of the day,
it is. The calculations here are rather complex.
It's extremely complex. When we first started to do AI calcs, we could do 3 drivers and 3 tasks, and it would take about 15 minutes to go through all of the machinations of what it would take to actually plan that out.
Right.
The 3 drivers, 6 tasks is now a second or 2, 3 seconds or 4 seconds, right? So
amazing.
We continue to improve it. We add more tasks. We add more complexities to it, right? Throwing in a part along the way, and then we'll add in complexities with long haulers. What's the capacity of the hauler, and how many can that fit, and where would it terminate, and once they're there, do they pick one up and bring? So again, it's going to continue to grow. And then, of course, we have a massive driver network.
And like you said, you could get so far behind if you're not paying any attention.
Listen, if you're an automotive retailer today and you're not focused on this, you're already in trouble, because we have so many.
That's what they said about digital dealer websites not long ago. You're already in trouble if you don't have a website.
And they're not, and they weren't wrong.
No, they weren't.
They weren't wrong.
They were not wrong.
Listen, the dealers and partners we have today are so progressive that in their markets, they will dominate, because they're focused on this. They're putting resources behind this. They know that right now it's not going to be 50, 60, or 70% of their business, but they know in 2 or 3 years it could be 80 or 90% of their business. And they're prepared today to make that move and change their culture and partner with companies that can provide. Listen, these guys, I'm talking to CEOs of companies that are publicly traded companies that do this every day. And guess what they say? I do not want to be in the car hauler business. Right. I do not want to be in the home delivery business. Those guys are smart.
Yes.
Right? They have shareholders that they need to answer to, and they know for sure if they went and spent a couple $1 million on flatbed trucks, their asses would be handed to them, right? So
the other side of that nickel is, if you're already in trucking and logistics, they don't want to get in it. Someone's got to do it.
That's correct. That's right. So we all band together. We provide these services, and this ecosystem continues to grow, and it becomes part of an everyday transportation ecosystem that everybody will be able to use. And then eventually Carvana becomes a thing of the past, because you don't need them anymore. They're gone. That's all I got, man, from my show.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. Number one, I thank you. That is a great presentation. You've got so much information, and that's why I hunted you down, right? And I said you got to come on the show, and thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking the time to go through that.
About stuff I'm obviously a little bit passionate about.
Right. Right.
But it's fun, right? This is the fun stuff, man. This isn't like, oh my gosh, I got to go build a network of drivers, right? This is really cool. and to talk to guys like you and everybody else and these CEOs of these companies, they get it, man. They get it. And they're like so stoked that companies like us and other companies are starting and have built this infrastructure, because you can tell there's a sense of relief. Some of these guys are like, I didn't even know this existed. Thank the Lord, because I thought I was going to have to do this myself.
Yeah, no, amen. That's right. Well, that's why when we started talking too, I realized this is so complicated that it's so complicated that even someone in auto transport doesn't want to invent this new business model.
Yeah, exactly, and like we don't want to
the closest one to it
either, right? We just want to partner with the right companies. We didn't want to go and reinvent Uber. I mean, I guess we already have a network of drivers. Of course, I could go pick up a human if I wanted to, but I don't want to, because Uber's already there. Why? I just partner with those companies that do what they do the best. We're going to do what we do the best, and that's drive vehicles away, right? With humans. Other people are going to do the best at what they do, which is drive vehicles away with humans that drive vehicles that carry vehicles. It's not brain surgery.
So let me ask you this. Can you give me 30 more minutes?
Yes.
Yeah? Do you have time?
28.
28 minutes. All right. Here, I'm going to do... So this is going to be new, guys. Check this out. I'm going to show you this. This is the first tip of the day from Brian Riker, your DOT guy. Watch this. When we come back, we're going to have Jake and Ty, and we're going to go... We'll let y'all go in less than 30 minutes.
Hey there, ecosystem. This is Brian Riker, your DOTguy.com, with your Tuesday tip of the day. Today we're going to talk about aging your authority, myth or miracle. The concept of aging your authority, meaning getting a US DOT and MC number and letting it sit for 6 months to a year while you drive for someone else, has been around for a long time. The thought is that an older business has an easier time getting freight from brokers and customers. Well, it is true that many load sources prefer to work with companies that have been established for a while. It is not possible to have an active operating authority in place without having proper insurance paid for and on file with the FMCSA, which makes it cost prohibitive to age an authority while still driving for someone else or lease to another carrier. The cost of having insurance for 6 months to a year without generating any revenue will far outweigh any benefits of being able to get the supposed better loads when you do start hauling. As far as the age of your company goes, the brokers and other load sources do not care about anything other than the date your authority went active with the FMCSA. The LLC does not matter, neither does the start date of your other business ventures. And that will not happen until the proper insurance is on file and kept current. Having a revocation for canceled insurance on your record looks far worse than being a fresh startup company. So aging your authority, busted or brilliant? I say busted. Thank you. Until next time, have a great day and be safe.
All right, so that is Brian Riker of Fleet Compliance Solutions. He's a friend of the show. You can go to yourdotguy.com and learn more about what Brian has to offer. But I hear the doorbell, and here's what's happening. We're going to go back to the live panel. Well, we're going to go back to the interview with Anthony Monteiro, president of Automotive Retail at Draiver. And in the live panel, and Jake, I'm not going to keep you up too late because I know you're a busy guy. And by the way, Jake, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I can hear you. I can see you. And we should have Ty coming in. And Ty is going to be barking about the time also. But this is so good. This is the penultimate show on car home delivery. Honestly, I haven't seen this topic covered in depth like this yet. And this is not the last time we'll talk about home delivery. So, Anthony, thank you for sticking around with us. Really appreciate it. Because we're talking about where auto transport meets dealer home delivery. And that is, I mean, it's not new, but who talks about that? I haven't
heard much of it.
I don't actually know. So, Jake, all right, so you're here.
Yep.
What, I mean, we just got a lot of information. What would be the first thing you would say? Other than hello.
Yeah, and hello. Great great presentation, great info. And Jay and I and Ty actually too. We've talked about this a couple times that I've been on, right? And I think Anthony, you're looking at the world the right way, right? And I kind of laughed with Jay. We were kind of talking about like what really propelled this to the forefront of the people that are thinking about the right way. What propelled the home, final mile, the home delivery? It was really COVID, right? I mean, everyone was talking about it for a long time, right? And you had the Shift and some Vroom and Carvana. And they all kind of went about it their own ways. Where Carvana built a giant trucking company, but really it was March 16th. You're not allowed in a dealership anymore, but you wanted to conduct business. How do we sell cars and get them to people? And I think that was, really the impetus of where this became everybody's, topic du jour. Nobody was really doing it right. No one really knew where to go, where to turn. Not a lot of people were talking about it. So I think that, that's what's really propelled that forward. It's a good thing. I don't think there's turning off the faucet or turning around now. That's sort of cat's out of the bag, right? Consumers want to be able to do this. If you bought a Tesla, you've experienced this. If you bought a car from Carvana or Vroom or Shift, you've experienced this. And now during COVID, if you happen to buy a car from a dealership that was offering this sort of, end-to-end ultimate customer experience, you've told all your friends and family, this is the way I want to buy a car. This is the way you should buy a car. These companies are great. And the cat's out of the bag. And this is the expectation. We live in the Amazon Prime culture, the Prime effect. And this is it for the world that we live in. And to me, it's exciting. I love it. I'm same as Anthony about it. And I think it's great. A lot of opportunity more than anything, for people to really focus on this. So exciting stuff. Like Jay, you said, not a lot of people really focus on it in this type of forum. So it's good that we just jump right into it.
And welcome to the show, Ty. Thanks for joining us. This is the panel. And I'll tell you what, this is the perfect time to bring out the big guns, because I put this list together. All right, here we go. You said it. Many companies doing this, offering this. What companies? All right. Get your buzzers ready. Okay, that's a joke. Okay, so we got Ty's got his buzzer. Okay, get your buzzers ready. I got... Okay, so here we go. Anthony's like, what just happened?
I have no buzzer.
Right.
Come on, Anthony.
Well, we'll hook you up, man.
Jay keeps bringing me on enough time, so now there's accessories. I feel like the Bruce Valanche of Auto Intel. Like I'm just this permanent panel member.
Right?
This is great, man.
Anthony, we forgot to tell you, once you come on, you never get to go off.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right. That's right.
All
The
right,
show.
See you next Tuesday.
Hey, I've got nothing to do on a Tuesday night between 8:30 and 10 o'clock.
Ooh, great.
Yeah, you should have said that.
A new recruit. Okay, good. Yeah. That'll get you a police siren. Okay, so all right. Carvana. Obviously. TrueCar. We've all heard about TrueCar. Vroom.
Let's pause right there, though.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
TrueCar is a third-party lead gen tool. They don't sell cars. They create a lead for a car buyer. So guess who has to fulfill that promise that TrueCar is promising? The dealer, right? TrueCar is not going to show up and deliver a car. They're not going to subvent the cost of it. It's the dealer's problem now that these guys are pitching in a beautiful world of, hey, someone's going to bring you a car, and guess what? The dealer goes, wait a minute.
That is awesome. I love that. That's a wonderful thing. And thank you for the clarification. Good. So you can really help clarify. We're going to keep going. There's 20 plus companies.
Yep.
Okay, Vroom. You mentioned Vroom.
No.
And Vroom, same business model as Carvana?
Same.
Right.
Yep.
Buy online, get it delivered. Nationwide
Their
network.
infrastructure, their deal.
Yeah.
They've got a physical dealership in Houston too, I believe, right? That's their sort of like main hub.
Texas Auto Direct is the inception of Vroom, right?
Yep.
And so they have recon facilities, logistics network, hub and spokes. Okay. All right, let's go to CarMax.
They're a car dealer. I think they put $5.2 million into their home delivery platform they launched in last October. So they came out and said, hey, Carvana's eating my lunch in these markets. I'm a used car retailer only, right? So there's some differentiators, right? Used cars only versus new car retailers, right? So Carvana only sells used cars. So does Vroom. So does CarMax. So you have this whole ecosystem of new car dealers that now you're probably going to hit some of these, where the new car OEM is saying, hey, we'll bring the car directly to your house. But guess who has to fulfill that requirement? It's not the OE bringing it because they're not Tesla. The dealer has that burden now to figure out how to do this.
Wow.
And that's interesting too, keep in mind, because they've been doing something similar, just not a home delivery, but they've allowed you, before Carvana or anyone came around, to go online, shop their entire inventory of their hundreds of stores, and get a car from Jacksonville to Michigan if you wanted to Kent. And that was new and unique to them. And there could be no rhyme or reason. It was, I decided I liked this 2008 Malibu way better out of New Jersey and you could have it shipped and inspect it and view it, and then you could change your mind, right? They're like, I don't want this. I'll buy something else instead. So it was kind of a cool, unique, different way of looking at things. And that, obviously Carvana ratcheted that up and said, well, why even have a store? Let's just, go right to your house and you'll do the test drive at your house. And if you don't like it, we'll take it back. So a little bit different. They've really, I think, perfected that initial online inventory way of doing business a long time ago.
Yeah, but don't they have an auction also, and they have a lot of their own trucks too, right?
Yep.
They have their own trucks. They've got their own auctions. Yeah, they got their own recon center.
They got remote service vans that they launched. We move cars for those guys lot to lot. So they're hey, I have a car in this location that I'm selling in that location. They'll hire our drivers to just move that car because it's a one-off move. And sometimes cars go back in the other direction. So we move cars for CarMax.
And what's interesting too, as we're talking, I mean, the level of marketing of getting it delivered, right? It's front and center. Edmunds.
Again, the third-party lead provider, right? Now, Edmunds is a great company, and we're actually having some conversations. I see the next one, the little purple guy. We're talking to cars.com. They actually have our API in their hand, whereas because they're a third-party internet service provider, these guys want to try to monetize this a little bit, right? So they're saying, wait a minute, what if I sync up with a network like Draiver, and through their API, now I can say, is there drivers available in this market, and let the consumer say, hey, I'll pay $49 to have you bring me that car, and it just dispatches the driver directly through our network. That way, cars.com is now in the game, right? And they have a way to monetize and separate themselves from their other third-party providers, like, whomever, Auto Trader, let's call it. They can provide this service directly through their platform. And, we have 4 companies right now where our APIs are being embedded into these platforms to offer the consumer direct to have that car delivered for a fee.
And what's so interesting is up until like now or recently, the focus was on the process of selling the car, not getting it delivered.
Well, Carvana changed the world.
Right.
Right? They are selling the process of the Amazon experience, and they sold it perfectly.
So we're seeing bigger companies playing catch up. The biggest companies are playing catch up.
Yeah, well, kind of. So these guys are third-party internet lead providers, right? Whereas Vroom got in the business to be a direct competitor against Carvana. So is CarMax a direct competitor. But you bring in Edmunds, Cars.com, Auto Trader, Car Guru, right? They're all third-party lead providers. If they can provide a hook to provide the physical aspect of it, then they're now also able to monetize that service inside of their platform. So all they do is tell the dealer, hey, you don't have to worry about this. We're going to provide it. You just need to have the car be available when the driver shows up, right? So we're just sending the alert to the dealer. The driver shows up and picks up the car that was ordered for a home delivery or a remote test drive through the third party lead provider, makes their lead stickier, right? And they can charge more for it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great idea.
Well, it's easy. Listen, for us,
That's awesome.
it's a perfect business model because
Man,
it's
you're like a kid in a candy store now.
Wow, got my attention. Keep going, Jay.
Yep. Drive time.
Drive time. Yep.
So now we're going to drop down. I don't know why this didn't resolve. That's weird. Well, somebody didn't buy a car. Shift. All right, let's go. Yeah, shift. Now, selling cars, lead gen.
They sell cars.
Yes.
Selling cars.
Yeah.
Okay. Test
my internet
drive.
was,
Here it is. Test drive. When and where you want.
My internet was getting a little funky there, but you're talking about the car gurus and everything else. And then I don't know if you touched on this, Anthony, or not, but you got to think about the value prop for when a car guru goes to dealerships to have them put their inventory on there. Now that search radius button is kind of meaningless. Why are you limiting consumers to search 100 miles near them or 150, 250 miles near them? You're basically saying, hey, I can broadcast your entire inventory to anyone, anywhere, and you're going to give them that little total landed cost, right in the all-in price right on there. So it's a huge value prop for them to get customers, dealerships to want to sign up with them.
Absolutely. And again, they can monetize it because they're going to charge for it. And they might, our fee to them is going to be it's already a wholesale deal, right? They're going to mark it up. So they're going to be able to monetize the actual transaction on the third party lead gen site.
Anthony, I've got a couple questions for you. Sure. If I'm a dealer and you want to talk to me about Draiver, and one of my questions is going to be, what's the cost to this?
So we have a small platform fee, right? Ranges anywhere between $100 and $500 a month, where you can use our logistics to manage all your own drivers. So if you're doing dealer swaps and want to track your sales guy, or your pickup and delivery you're doing for service already with your porters, just put them on our platform and we'll charge you a nominal monthly fee. The network marketplace of drivers is on a per trip. So it's just like Uber. You go say, I want to move this vehicle from here to there. And our platform goes, okay, there's 14 drivers available in that market. It's going to be 1 hour and 45 minutes. And your cost is going to be $68.29. Do you want to click go? If it clicks go, all their apps light up and go, hey, I got a trip. And the driver goes, I'll do that one, accept. And then they show up and facilitate that transaction. So the per drink model, let's call it, right? The Uber model is based on time of day, length of drives, marketplace availability, things like that. Los Angeles versus Mobile, Alabama are two different rates.
What kind of support do you have for the dealer that decides he wants to give you $500 a month to use your platform? How long do you go for support?
When you say
help me figure it out. Help me figure out how to really use it, work it, make it happen.
So our client support team, that's exactly what they're there for, right? They help them plan the trips early on, right? They'll say, go ahead and let's put in all your trips you're going to do today. And our client managers will go, this one should go with that guy, and this one should go with this, and you should move this one now. When all your cars come out of the service bay, plan them to be ready around 4 o'clock. So you have drivers here. If some of them don't make it, just push it out to tomorrow. So all of the people you're picking cars up for, you're going to bring some to people in the morning, but you're going to pick some up and bring them back. So they go through all of that, what ifs, how to's, because again, we can't just drop the software in their lap and expect them to use it, because it won't be sticky, right? Oh. It'll be a $500 bill that they go, what the hell am I paying for this for? when I could just text my drivers and tell them to go pick up the car at Johnny's house.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a bit of a learning curve, but you're probably going to take existing key people that are already doing the job physically and have them be in charge of the app or the platform or Got
That's correct, 100%. In many of our bigger clients, you know, they hire a dispatcher or they convert somebody in the store to a dispatcher. But the cool thing is, you know, our AI will help plan that out. So the human dispatcher really just has to go, okay, I need to get all these vehicles ready. And, oh, I'd rather not put that one in with this grouping. I'm just going to pluck that one out and put it over here by itself because it needs to, it's a little bit different than a group move. So, but somebody does need to manage it. It's like anything, right? If you have a BDC, you need a BDC manager to make sure that the guys are on shift to answer the calls, they follow the process. So it's a job in the dealership that 12 people are doing today. The service manager is managing it out in the service lane. The sales manager is managing the dealer swaps. The inventory manager is managing all these other things. We're just bringing it into one kind of cool platform that one person can manage all of that ecosystem of vehicle movement in one place.
Wow. Cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go back. I'm going to pull up. We're going to just go back through a few more. And there's go to Draiver, DRAIVER.com. And I'm going to go ahead and throw that into the live chat. And also, if you have any questions, because we're going to let you go here real soon. We got less than 10 minutes to look at a few more companies and talk a little bit more. So let's see where we left off. Have you heard of getacar.com?
That one's new to me. I haven't heard of that. Have you guys?
Nope.
No, it's brand new. Who's this by? Is there like some info on the bottom of it? It might tell you like who's you know, powered by somebody.
On your map, free delivery. Look at that, free delivery, easy peasy, no problemo. And we also bring it back for free.
It's interesting.
Alley, they got Alley in there.
Banks partnered.
Yeah, exactly. Some banks in there. Our story.
Danis Auto Sales is who owns that.
Danis Auto Sales. Okay.
So it looks like it's probably regionalized. I've seen a couple of those pop up where they've taken the Carvana model and they have a group of dealerships and they built this kind of concept around the Carvana concept and do it regionally. Like I bet you, I don't know, but I would bet if you said wherever those guys are, if you picked a zip code or an address outside of their market, it would say you're outside of our market.
Yeah, it looks like they're up in the Northeast, if I had to guess.
Okay. There's this Car Soup.
Third-party lead provider. Car Soup's been around since I was one of the first employees of AutoWeb.com, and that was in 1996. So Car Soup was one of our original competitors. So those guys have been around in lead gen forever.
Joy Drive has got some traction on LinkedIn.
Is in the Carolinas, their rally, I believe, and it's the same thing. It's regional. If you go on and try to go outside of Greater Raleigh and in south through Charlotte, they'll basically say I can't service it because we don't provide outside this area.
Huh. I don't see that information. That's really interesting. It's a good thing we have you here.
They won't do it until you get the lead generated.
Right. Oh, that's perfect time to find out.
And
yeah.
All those guys' goal is to expand that out, right? I mean, you remember how Broom started, Texas.
Right. Good point.
Shift was West Coast, just California. Carvana was strategic about major metros. So I think they try and get a foothold, gain traction, gain inventory. It's a tough game, but if you can deliver a better customer experience, have the cars the customers want, you'll drive traffic and you'll grow. And they may even look for acquisition. Maybe one or a couple of those guys either eat each other up or get bought by some of the bigger guys that want into those markets. So
wouldn't it be great to put a little bit of that market information up here for maybe? I don't know.
Well, so listen, from my perspective, I hope more and more of these things selfishly show up, because all we'll do is go to them and say, hey, right, if you want to expand to this market, I'll supply you some drivers to help you get your cars delivered. As those businesses grow, we don't really, for us, we don't care. We're completely agnostic. I don't care if cars.com or Auto Trader or, we partnered with Frickin' Tech. They have a digital widget that we now are partnered in, and people can order home delivery and test drives directly through their website. I want the more the merrier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they want you to go through there, Jay, the whole process, because that's data, right? They want to capture that. So if they see a lot of people from a certain market shopping that, they may be, okay, hey, that's the next place we need to go. Clearly there's something going on. So they want you to go. They don't want you to turn around without going and getting clicked through. I mean, it's very important for people to get that nowadays.
Perfect point. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a really good point. DeliverMyRide.com, NowCar.com. I just heard about this one. It's probably another one, like you said, right? Regional start.
I don't know NowCar, but I would imagine.
Now, there's a company called Car Now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they fund their Car
Now. I was thinking that too, but Car Now really focuses more on the website part for the dealer.
It does, but
you're right.
Hey, why not get in it, right?
Here it is, free delivery. It's free.
Anthony, are you in with ACV or Backlot or Ready or Cars Arrive, any of those guys yet?
And we're, one of our partners, Arif, has talked to Backlot, so there's opportunities there for us to partner with some of those guys. Absolutely.
Okay, we're almost done here. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so Used Car King. Now Anthony, you had something. Maybe you had something on that,
Yeah. So, listen, I've known Todd Caputo for a long time, and Todd was an E-Lead customer when I was a product VP there. So Todd's guy signed up for Draiver. Now they're in Syracuse, New York, or the northern part of New York, way up by Canada, and they have their own drivers, and they've had their own drivers for many years. And Todd's a very progressive dealer. They're one of the first Roadster guys. They actually used our Deal Builder product in the showroom for some time. They use Roadster as their website widget. So they're like, hey, we're going to put Draiver in our store. We have our own drivers. We've got 4 drivers. We love these guys. So we install the software and we go, and there was their own drivers. So we install the software and the drivers are like, they're the older gentlemen. And they're like, I ain't using no damn app. Forget this. I ain't using it, right? The guy had a flip phone, and his words were, I'm not using a phone that's smarter than me. So they refused to use the app. So obviously it didn't work,
so
right? It's kind of not going to work.
Right.
You can't track where the driver's going or dispatch a job to them. So, I love you guys, but you're not going to be able to make this work.
That is, man, Ty, right? Gosh, that just screams auto transport.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yep.
And that's where I told Anthony, I feel like Auto Transport Intel keeps slowly ripping away from a sector of our industry because they keep talking about the future, and not everybody wants to talk about the future.
Well,
right?
Yeah, right. Regardless, if you want to, you almost have to.
That's where we're at. You kind of have to.
Well, but see, it goes back. I've been watching Anthony I've watched the whole show, but I'm watching Anthony. I'm listening to him, and you listen to this guy's resume, and you look at where he's at today. Anthony, I always say it always goes back to the dealer or the car, either one. Mm-hmm. But your experience in the dealer realm is what I always try to see. I try to help guys that want to be car haulers, right? How do you be a good car hauler? How do you build a big business? Well, the thing that I try to really emphasize is become a joint partner. You don't have to call it a joint partner, but if you listen to what you're saying, you're meeting the need of the dealer. And that's where Jay's show, and we got, I'm sitting here with Jake, and I've got a lot of questions for Jake about a guy like you. But regardless, I see how all these touch, and I've been hauling cars for 20 years, but I've always focused on the dealer or the car. So what you're saying makes so much sense. And guys that are watching this, if they're paying attention, yeah, we all have to change. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not excited about it. I like the way I used to do it.
That's
but
right.
This is what's happening. It's here. Here we go. So I really want to tell you, thanks for coming on. And Jake, same for you, man. I love having Jake and you guys on here. It's great.
No, I loved it. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I think this is probably as good a time as any. I had a few more left, but seriously, I mean, the list and how you can't cover it all. Because what about all the local dealerships? I mean, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah. Well, did you hear what Anthony said? 44, what do you say? 44,000 used versus 17,000 new?
Yeah, 16,800 new car franchises and 44,000 independent dealers across the country.
Wow.
See, I hear that number and I think
into consideration.
Wow. Now that is something I didn't know that number.
Right. We got to start to barbecue every Friday, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny, and we'll end it on this. I train our sales guys. Our best lead is the guy that says, I do home delivery, right? So I say, hey, if you want to go into a market, just go to the website. If they say they do home delivery, mystery shop them. See if they actually do it. And if they are, who are they using and how are they doing it? And see if we can conquest our competitor. Or if they do it shitty, let's tell them how they can do it easy and take that pain away. What we found is well over half the time, almost 70% of the time, they don't do it at all, right? Once you get to the, hey, when can you bring me my car to test drive it? The hemming and hawing and oh my gosh, these people actually want me to do this. What do I do now? Is the reaction, because they don't have a process and they feel compelled that they have to say this because everybody else is saying it, and then cross their fingers that no one asks them to do it. And that's really where we're at.
Yeah.
That's when you jump in and go, I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Which we do. That's how we added 53 dealerships last month. So
wow, that
is awesome. Yeah,
really
and I've seen a lot of great news coming from you on LinkedIn, Anthony. Thanks for sharing it, and thanks for taking the time tonight. Awesome stuff.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to meet everybody.
Thanks, Jay.
And,
thanks, Jay.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to end this meeting and close out the show. All right. Peace out. So there it is. That's it. I really appreciate everybody taking the time. I know these shows are long. I know there's lots of information, and sometimes it seems like the information is a dog on a leash, and he's running way outside of the yard. And what are we going, and where are we going? But I can promise you that every week, I spend a lot of time, and I spend a lot of time working on the show, researching, and in webinars and reading. It's nonstop because my job is to keep on trying to catch all this information that's falling and find a way to funnel it into the auto transport information that this industry needs, this marketplace, and your business, right? And so what we're seeing here, home delivery is absolutely part of the car shipping ecosystem. And so now that you know more about it, whether you're a carrier or a dealer or a broker, you work in equipment, OEM, auction, however this piece affects your part of the pie, it's going to keep on growing. Find a way to grow your business with this piece, with car home delivery. So thank you so much for joining me on episode 155 on a Tuesday night. I want to thank Murphy Auto Transport Services. I want to thank SUPERFLO Systems. I want to thank ACERTUS. I especially want to thank Anthony Monteiro of Draiver for an amazing presentation. Thank you, Ty, Cars on the Move, and Jake, RPM, for spending the time. And I want to thank all of you out there in TV land and in the live chat. Thank you guys so much for saying hello. Thank you for your super chats, your contributions, your time. and participation. If you've missed anything, you know, this goes from live to on demand. Check out the video description. It'll take 24 hours. It'll be full of links. I'm going to post all the links to those websites. I turn this into a podcast. I turn it into a blog. Auto Transport Intel is your car shipping business channel. Thanks for making it great. You guys stay safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Peace.